The trees are planted, there's crews that have brushed them, and there's people like me that come out and audit them. We monitor them, we look after them, we care for them. They're growing. This is not a flash in the pan program. This is going to be a program that produces trees. The story is the same. It's the same all up and down our coast. We logged them, we created significant changes in them, and those forests are not at this stage yet to be able to function on their own, to be sustainable. As a restoration ecologist, we think about the future forest condition. What is the condition currently? Where will it be in 30 years, 40 years, 100 years, 200 years? So a layperson would look at that and go, why would I replace this tree with another one? If you look at this. And what we're doing is we're replacing a tree that's dying with one that's going to live for 400, 500, 1,000 years. Big difference. Well, there's always something exciting about new vegetation. You know, you can just look at this. It's life coming back on a site. So to fully achieve a functioning condition, we as forest ecologists and restoration ecologists work to put those long growing trees back on that site. Okay, so we have maps like this, and then there's specific GPS points that have all of the locations of where we planted.
And who's coming in and checking those trees here now being planted?
Well, the way it happens is ERA comes in, does the planting, and then they're responsible to ensure they grow under their contract. And what they do is they even hire people like me to come back and do post-planting audits. And then from time to time, there's another auditor that ERA hires that comes in and actually takes my audit reports and then works from my audit reports.
On one, and that one tells me it's cluster number 32. You can see we have clusters up in Maple Ridge, which are even, so they're all uploaded and they're all...
We have in Maple Ridge about 600 kilometers of identified watercourses, creeks and so on. We tried to identify some of the areas that had been disturbed or that were sparsely vegetated. So fortunately, we had a fairly comprehensive inventory of municipal lands and all of these sites where we needed to do reclamation or restoration and enhancement, and we were able to work in partnership with ERA to come forward and identify a lot of these spots.
So in this particular one, here's a good example right here. Riparian areas tend to be, and have historically been, very difficult for foresters to reestablish trees on. And then so much of it was because they were trying to reforest to make a commercial forest out of it. Along a riparian corridor, we don't want a commercial forest. We actually want a natural functioning ecosystem such as the one we had before you logged it. We don't want the plantation effect. So I try and mix the diversity of the trees that are planted. Let's look around. So we look up and we've got cedar, spruce, cedar, hemlock. Outside of carbon offsetting, all the previous work in terms of restoration here in the province, we could come in and do this work, but we could never get funding to come back and make sure those trees are growing. So people like myself had to kind of be creative, like how could I get trees in the ground in ways where they could survive this onslaught of brush, that brush grows, it just explodes, and basically it smothers out even the trees that we plant. He's nice. Success really requires maintenance, and it requires care and nurturing those trees. Here we're doing so many different things, right? You know, you're providing a public good, you're restoring a natural ecosystem back to its original condition, it's providing habitat for wildlife, for fish, clean air, I mean, so much more than just simply taking carbon and putting it in the ground, for example. Finding a storage hole to pack it away.
That's just a very technical question. What does the abbreviation SERP stand for?
SERP is the Community Ecosystem Restoration Program. They're telling me to make my answers shorter, so I'm working on it.